Alright, what is going on YouTube? And we got a brand new Genshin Impact Spiral Abyss video. And today we're going Electrocharge Raiden first half and a Mavwika Hyper Carry team second half. And the reason we're doing Electrocharge first half is because you pretty much have to. You don't really have a choice in the matter because the final boss is this big cactus dude that you need Electrocharge to get past his first phase, where there's these little like Mexican hats on the ground, and you need to do Electrocharge damage to them to get on to the second phase where he's crippled and you can do a lot of damage to him. Because the second half, this is the final chamber we're talking about here, is the big like Natlan automaton thing that you basically need a Mavwika Hyper Carry team to beat. So this is the only possible team that I think I could have cleared this Abyss with. You can also use like the Lunar Charge team. I'm pretty sure the only character you can Lunar Charge with at this phase of the game is the new character, like, I don't even know what her name is, but the new Electro character on the current banner. This is a really good Spiral Abyss that could be catered to that very well. So for my Raiden Electrocharge team, I went Farina and Jinkyu for my Hydro units, and Raiden and Kujo Sara for my Electro units. The one thing I will warn you is if you're using Farina, your HP is going to drain pretty quickly. Unless you're cycling back and forth between her like damage mode and her healing mode, which you just do by holding your attack button, or melee button, I should say. Because otherwise, like, it will drain your character's HP quite a bit, and if you don't have a shielder, you can definitely get one-shotted being low health. On this chamber, and honestly on the second and third chamber too. The second chamber are a bunch of like ruin drakes and other ruin creatures, and then the last one is obviously that cactus guy mentioned before. In his cactus form, where he's like above ground, he can do a lot of damage pretty quickly. Even if you aren't running shielders, you get more HP out of Farina when your characters are full health. I just kind of bit the bullet because I think the only way I got enough Hydro damage is if I had 2 Hydro appliers in this Electrocharge team, hence the Jinkyu. I did run Kuki on my first attempt, and it did not go as well because I was not doing enough Hydro application, and I wasn't draining the hat's shield on the last chamber when you go against the cactus boss. Cactus Jack, and I didn't use Yelan because I wanted to get that little tiny bit of healing from Jinkyu just to keep my characters up. During this round, I switched to Farina's healing mode only just to keep the HP up because I knew this was one I could clear without using her to damage. So that got my characters back up, and I also did a HP buff for my third chamber bonus at the beginning. So that kept us ready for that final boss fight. And as long as you're able to disable the hats the first time with the heavy hitting Raiden or any Electrocharge or Lunar Charge team, you should have enough time to beat the second boss in Chamber 3 with a Mavwika Hyper Carry team. Now, I don't like how catered these two halves of this Abyss are to specific teams. I can't really see you using a lot of beloved old characters in team comps on this Abyss at all. Even though Raiden is technically an older team, this isn't even like kind of for her. It's for like a Lunar Charge or Electrocharge. Not even the traditional Raiden Hyper Carry or Raiden National teams. So that's kind of sad to see. I get that the game has gone on long enough to the point where there's a lot of new characters, and there has to be when you introduce new characters to every region. But there used to be more flexibility with that in the past, and I feel like there's not anymore, and we speak of this very frequently on the channel. So that makes me sad, but I'm happy that for once I actually had the teams you kind of need to run this. It worked out kind of perfectly for me. The Hu Tao team is kind of a thing of the past because we need Mavwika and we kind of need Raiden right now, and it does my heart very bad to see that happening. I've even thought about quitting Genshin in the past, but ultimately you need that gambling outlet. That's exactly what Genshin serves as. But yeah, this was a pretty easy chamber, and it was kind of like a chamber off for my Raiden team, and a pretty easy chamber. It was a fun one. So the previous two attempts, I nuked. I did big damage with my Mavwika team against the second opponent on this chamber, which is that Dendro Turkey from Sumeru. I did like crazy damage the first two attempts, but the second attempt where I switched to Jinkyu for my last slot, for my healer slot basically, didn't do as much damage this time around. So that was a bummer. You can see right here, it just didn't do as much damage, but we do clear it in plenty time. Quick little water break. I do have a Mavwika nuke video coming out soon as well. I was going to post it a week ago, and I had it uploaded and ready to go, but I just forgot to hit publish. So we'll do it the week in between this and the next Imaginarium Theater. Now, unfortunately, the best advice I have to give you for Genshin burnout is just to be patient or quit playing Genshin, because eventually the meta will swing around to a time where you can use your favorite characters. I remember for a while we went without a lot of Cryo Love. Then they got Escoffier and Skirk, and it became meta for like a month or two. Like if you didn't have a well-built Cryo character, and at the time I had an okay built Ayaka, and that barely even cut it in that meta. And I'm talking for endgame content. If you're a story lover, get out of here. I'm just kidding, don't get out of here. But this conversation doesn't pertain to you quite as much if you really like the quests and whatnot, and the exploration component of Genshin. And if you aren't as into that and you're really into the endgame content and all the challenges and whatnot, then maybe it's time you should dive a little more into the exploration during times where the meta doesn't fit you, because ultimately they want you to be their little pay piggy. All the Hoyoverse people running the event banners, the whole gacha system, and it's pretty much just catered to get you to spend money on every single banner, which should kind of go without saying, but you used to be able to work around it. I used to be able to work around it, and if I'm having trouble working around it, I can imagine that at least 80% of people who used to enjoy endgame content also are struggling. So you can be patient and wait for the power creep to rotate back into your favor, or you can just quit entirely. And to that first point, while you're waiting, you can just collect the award. You can do one of those things where you change the Abyss every single half. Like every time you clear one, you back out, switch teams, take a long time to clear, and get a team that you can clear the chambers with by doing multiple tries, so you accumulate all the stars, like using many different teams. It takes a long time and it's not as respectable, but ultimately you will get all of the rewards still the same. Or you can just make it as far as you possibly can in the Abyss, get as many rewards as you can, and just back off and wait a little while, because there was a while where my Raiden team was not as meta. Like when there was the Cryo boom, I pretty much had to use like a maxed out Cryo team best I could in Mavwika Hyper Carry. It's just been something in Mavwika Hyper Carry. Once we switch to the Cryo region, that's probably not going to be the case anymore, because the what is that cool, the Night Soul thing, it's not going to be the main gimmick they're pushing with the newer characters. So just wait a little bit, especially if you've been really excited for the Cryo region and you've been saving your wishes for those Cryo region characters. Right here, we got all of our team builds. They stayed pretty similar to what you've seen in the past. Sitlali is C5 or C3 now, not C5. I wish. I do have it on my wish list to get her C6, because that would be huge for both my Mavwika and Hu Tao team, my two heaviest hitting teams I can muster up. And she's just such a good character overall because of how versatile her buffs are. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Best of luck with your Abyss attempts and your wish pulls. And I love you guys. God bless you. Peace out. I'll see y'all next time.